tightrope teams when it comes to the college football landscape in 2023. So what is a tightrope team? Let's unpack that a little bit. A tightrope team, in my mind, is a team in college football that's sort of walking that wire, going towards what they want to accomplish, whether it's a national title, whether it's a conference title. But while they're taking those steps towards that destination, it's not a broad path. Like I just said, it's a tightrope now. One false step one way or the other, and we got a different conversation about that team's fate. So the way that I see it, I didn't want to say boom or bust because I don't think that really fits with these teams, but you get the picture. Walking towards greatness, but the margin for error is very, very slim from where I'm sitting. So the first tightrope team I want to talk about, we're in the Volunteer State. Coming to you live from Nashville, just up the road is Knoxville. The Tennessee Vols, man, y'all know I am high on the Vols. I believe in Josh Heupel. He came on this very program. I believe in his vision. I believe in the trajectory of that team. But what is the bet that all of us are making on Tennessee if we're picking them to do some good things in 2023? Goes back to Joe Milton. Hendon Hooker was that dude in 2022. The offense was rolling in 2022, but now Jalen Hyatt gone to the league. Hendon Hooker gone to the league. So you're making your bet on Joe Milton being able to pick up where he left off. And we talked to Kirk Herbstreit about this one, but you're also betting the defense is going to improve along with the way the offense continues to trend upward. Like you're probably betting for Tennessee to be somewhere in the range of 40 points a game, and you're betting that Tennessee improves like 5 to 10%. Well, here's my question. Here's why they're a tightrope team in my mind. I believe Joe Milton's going to be really good. But if Joe Milton isn't really good, well, then what happens? A lot of this offense goes through the quarterback. They're not asking Joe Milton to be a game manager. And if Joe Milton doesn't have the success that we think he's going to have, well, then that defense, there's a lot more pressure on them to perform and to hold teams to a lower point total and to be a little bit more secure in that secondary. So I think they're going to be good. But you understand that tightrope gets a little bit wobbly if Joe Milton doesn't end up being who we think he's going to be, and the pressure goes back on that defense. That's a lot more responsibility, a lot more weight on that defense than you would like. Tennessee, without a doubt, a tightrope team. Everyone tuned in live, we appreciate y'all, man. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're locked in right here. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram at JDPikel. We appreciate you in advance for that. Moving right along, another tightrope team we got to talk about. Let's go out to Chapel Hill. The Tar Heels of North Carolina are a tightrope team for me. They won 6 games last year by 1 score. Competed for an ACC title. Didn't end up working out how you would like if you're in North Carolina. But your bet for North Carolina is that Drake May is going to propel you to greatness. I think they're somewhere in Vegas, anywhere around like 9, maybe 8.5 wins, I think is the number for them right now, preseason for the over-under win total. If you're taking the over, you believe, okay, Drake May's that guy. He's going to live up to the billing that we at On3 believe he's going to be, being a top 2 player in the country, according to our good friend StatCat that works here at On3. The belief is that Drake May is going to be that dude. Now, the reason why they're a tightrope team is if he is that dude, okay, great. Maybe you're talking about that win total. Maybe you're talking about being back in the ACC title game. The reason why I am a little bit slower to jump on that hype train is because the defense is not good. Okay, defense allowed over 200 yards rushing a game, I believe. The defense was the Achilles heel. You also lose Josh Downs, big-time wide receiver to the NFL. You lose your offensive coordinator in Phil Longo, who was the architect behind that offense. If Drake May doesn't perform how we believe he could perform, same thing I said with Tennessee. The pressure, responsibility goes back to that defense, and you don't feel good about that for your defense. You don't feel good about that if you're a North Carolina fan. Now, if Drake May just takes over and takes his game to a new level, whole conversation doesn't matter. North Carolina is going to be really good. But I'm just saying, even if Drake May just performs the same way he did last year, even if they find themselves in 6 one-score games, let's say they lose 3 of those. Let's say they lose 4 of those. Different conversation around North Carolina and where they fall in the ACC. Let's show some love here to a former Group of 5 team now. The UCF Knights, Gus Malzahn, John Rice Plumlee making the move to the Big 12. Now, make sure we're all on the same page here. For those of you that don't follow the group of five so closely, UCF almost won the American Athletic Conference last year. Played Tulane twice, gave them a game both times, lost them in that title game for the conference. UCF is now joining the Big 12 Conference. UCF a season ago went 9-5. Good ball club. If you're making a bet on UCF, you're saying, well, John Rice Plumlee and Gus Malzahn's offense, once they get rolling here, once that really starts to click and shift into gear, UCF's going to be dangerous. UCF's going to score over 30 points a game. Yet again, I hear you. I understand that. But you're taking this house, this operation that UCF was in the American Athletic Conference, and you're moving it to a whole different neighborhood in the Big 12. How does that translate? If they're able to score over 30 points a game again, they're able to have a solid defense like they did last year. They got 70% of that production coming back that only allowed 24 points a game. If the defense is solid and holds up in the new Power 5 conference, well, then great. You're probably putting money down on UCF to do some good things. But if not, if that new competition level and that talent level you're playing against roster to roster week in and week out in the Big 12, well, then UCF, that's a reason why they're on the tightrope. Maybe they take a step back as they transition to a Power 5 conference. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. All right, UCF, absolutely a tightrope team. Last tightrope team for you. We're going to jump on out to the West Coast, the best coast, if you will, and go take a look at the UCLA Bruins, Chip Kelly's UCLA Bruins. Chip Kelly, what is he known for? Explosive offense after explosive offense after explosive offense. Well, the unfortunate reality is you lose a lot of those guys to the NFL. The good news is you went into the portal and got some dudes for you. One of them being Carson Steele, big-time running back from Ball State, made a lot of noise in the MACtion. You also went and got Colin Schlee, who is potentially going to be your starting quarterback, or it's going to be Dante Moore. 5-star true freshman. So when it comes to UCLA, you bring back a lot on the defense production-wise, but the whole hope behind UCLA is that offense is going to score points, how they've scored points under Chip Kelly. DTR is gone, but you feel okay about who you have stepping in at quarterback. Quarterback-friendly offense. Offense goes through the quarterback, but even so, you're putting a lot of your hope on a transfer quarterback transferring now to the Power 5, is Colin Schlee, or a true freshman. Talented true freshman, who I think is the future in Westwood, but still is a true freshman. Hasn't played a down of college football yet. UCLA could make some noise in the Pac-12. Pac-12 is going to be brutal this year. I also think it's pretty wide open. Even so, just take a look at where you're putting your bets and how stable those places are within the roster that you're placing your bets. Offensive, production, they've now retooled through the portal, and some of the guys that they have that could start as a true freshman, Dante Moore being one of them. So keep an eye on UCLA. They're fascinating to me. They allowed 31 points a game last year defensively. I don't love that. Don't feel great about that. But even so, with the nature of the Pac-12, I'm not counting out Chip Kelly, and I'm not counting out what Dante Moore could be. UCLA tightrope team. To recap it for you, our tightrope teams. Tennessee, what's Joe Milton going to be? I'm curious to see. Is he able to take some pressure off that defense, or defense, as some people like to call it? North Carolina, they won 6 games by 1 score. You lose some key pieces. Your offensive coordinator, big-time wide receiver. Defense has got to hold up their end of the bargain, and Drake May's got to take his game to new heights, which is saying something for how talented he is and how well he played a season ago. UCF making the move now. No longer in the Group of 5 neighborhood. Welcome to the Power 5 in the Big 12. Did some good things in the Group of 5, but how do you translate when you play better rosters week in and week out? Then lastly, UCLA. Love Chip Kelly. Love Dante Moore. Heck, I even like Colin Schlee. How quickly does that work? And are they able to start fast and be a team that's competitive right away in the Pac-12? Or is it some growing pains and we got to figure it out with the portal and a new quarterback? What does that look like? I'm fired up to watch it. Tightrope teams for 2023 without a doubt. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.